So it's balanced Dataslate day, and what a good day it is to play Tau. So, how's everyone feeling? I'm going to choose someone at random. Let me pick on... Doombear. How are you feeling about the points changes? Clearly shy. Someone go in instead. What do we like? What do we like in terms of what's changed? What are you excited to run?
I have cheaper trash now.
Cheaper
I can
trash.
get the turn 3 in here.
And what kind of trash were you running before for doing secondaries?
I think I'll start running Breacher Fish just as kind of what I was doing in 9th, where I could throw them up, and then there's something for the opponent to have to deal with, with the double O's, with the OC2 of the Breachers.
Yeah.
They'll stay on the point and then hold it for me, at least to keep me in the game for primary. Kroot at 55 points are also relatively cheap, just easy screen, so it's just... There's more stuff between me and my opponent, so that they don't get to my Crisis or Broadsides.
Agreed. What I'm looking at in terms of points-wise, I don't know about anyone else, but roughly some of my lists have kind of gone down by about 210 points, give or take. That is a lot. That is almost a unit of 3 broadsides now. It's another Ghostkeel plus some extra scoring units. So I find that the points changes have really kind of helped us just either fill out our little trash units to do the mission play, but it's also added a level of, well, you could just take more stuff to shoot them dead. So I find that obviously Crisis Suits going down was interesting choice. Like to 180 points now for 3, which is insane value. Let's have a look. Let's have a review of Tau. Okay. Breaches, 90 points. It's pretty much what they used to be in 9th. I think they were 85, so it's not too far off where they used to be. Broadsides going down by 20 points is huge. I was a little bit sad to not see any form of changes to AP, because I was kind of hoping that our missile sides might get some love, but AP1 just doesn't cut it. So I think the rail sides are now going to be more important than ever, especially with Tyranids, Monster Mash, various big vehicles. You're not going to see as many Wraith Knights anymore, but you're still going to see a lot of Wraith Guard. So Broadside's going to be a good pick. For 270 for 3 is an absolute bargain. Even 2 for 180 points is a good little mini alpha, especially if you strat reserve them. Farsight. Was anyone running Farsight?
I am.
Yeah? Oh, it's 90 points. That's kind of cheap. For that +1 to wound.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want him in a unit of 3, not a unit of 6 Crisis Suits, in my opinion. Just easier. Rapid ingress reasons, drop them in. +1 to wound's nice. Okay, so who's seriously considering Commander Spam as their lists going into 10th edition tournaments? Who's considering Commander Spam?
I mean, it seems a very powerful way to play, doesn't it?
Yes. But what's the downside?
Vehicle.
That insta
Assassination.
secondaries.
Yeah. So I've been playing around with Commander Spam, single enforcers, single XP8 commanders. Problem being is that you're already giving away 20 points on Bring It Down. So you'd have to play the perfect game, because realistically you're going to give away between 36 and 40 on secondaries. So they're really good for dropping in, cutting angles, spotting, doing damage. And an enforcer with 3 cyclics and a shield generator is no joke. The 4-pin bun is really good to keep them alive because it's swingy. But the problem I find is that you're giving them easy secondary points. So, as much as it's really tempting to do single enforcers for 100 points or single XP8 commanders, I do think that you giving away secondaries is too much versus actually doing the damage. And I think with Broadsides coming down in points, Riptides coming down in points, Ghostkeels coming down in points for some unknown reason, they're already kind of bargaining for the points, but I'm not going to complain. I think there's other avenues. I was hoping for extra AP on missiles, just because then actually missile pods on crisis suits would be big, but unfortunately again falls into that category of AP1 is just not going to cut it. Dark Strider going down still has the same problem of his denial is only from that model. His 12-inch bubble of no, you can't deploy here is still on a single model, which is disappointing. Devilfish, 75 points. The problem I have with Devilfish and Breachers was obviously the cost, but it also, if you do the maths now, it's 75 points plus 90 for the Breachers, so that's 165. So it's 205 points for a Cadra Fireblade, Breacher, and Devilfish. It's just not 3 crisis suits for 180 points, is it? So has anybody been having any success with Breacher Fish? Or has anybody been having any disappointment with them prior to this?
May I maybe talk about that?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about this, or do you want me to talk?
Yeah,
about it? Yeah, go for it.
About Breacher Fish. I think I haven't tested them yet, but I think they suffer from the same issue as the Ninth. So and they are the same amount of points as the Ninth. So I think that okay-ish in competitive play. But that's not our tournament staple unit.
Yeah, the annoying thing is about the Breacher Fish is that in 9th edition they did loads of heavy lifting for your army. They achieved secondaries very well. They screened very well, which obviously they can still do. The problem is the AP1. Yes, you can have reroll to wound if they're on the on objective. But Overwatch is still going to be a thing, and the moment that unit steps out with that combo that you want to do, they will Overwatch you, and you will lose probably 3 or 4 breaches, and that's enough to make their damage, which was already kind of anemic, into just not worth it. So it's a big points investment, whereas I think that the crisis suits, and I take no joy in this, I like having flexibility in my lists. I like having tools for different jobs, but the problem is 3 crisis suits with 3 cyclics and a shield generator each. It's 27 shots at strength 7 / strength 8 AP1 to AP2 is just so good for 180 points that when you compare it to anything else like a Breacher Fish for 205 with that combo, it just doesn't do the same damage and it's not as survivable, whereas the crisis suits are, and they deliver that damage quick, efficiently, and then if you lose the unit, they've taken way more points than they cost for you to take anyway. So that's the problem I have. It needed a points reduction, but it also needed extra AP on those breaches. If AP2 rather than AP1, I know you can do not coordinate to engage the point blank volley, but that's from turn 3 onwards. So if you're not using them early doors to screen and go and deliver a killing blow, excuse the pun, but I just don't see it, and unfortunately, like you said, it's just not a tournament staple. I do think there may be play for them if the Eldar and do start to take mass infantry, but again, Overwatch just cripples them. So that's where I stand on it. I might try 1 just to see if it fits within an overall battle plan that I have, but I can't see it right now from a glance. Yeah, Firesight, Marksman, Ethereals, they all stay the same. Ghostkeels, So, come on. Our beloved Ghostkeel that saw no additions, no play in other editions. What about now? Who's been running the Ghostkeels and what success have you been having with them?
I mean, the low narrative
with,
on that is
Amazing.
So, go on, Conwen, go on.
Yeah, I have just not really doing damage, but just being a threat with getting primaries and just using the loan up quite a lot. Just, trying to measure, and if someone has an advance and they're shooting, just stay outside of their threat range pretty much, and just be like, this keel is here with the stealth to pretty much blank a shot.
Yeah.
And I think it's 5 or 6 custodes. It pretty much just took and just like a Wraith Knight shooting it with my couple of my Eldar games. That's been really good with just blanking the shots from the Wraith Knight as well.
Yeah, so I mean the Ghostkeels are a good distraction carnifex. I've been having success with just a single Ghostkeel, and now there's a couple of ways of looking at it. I've always been teetering on 2. Originally, when I first made a Tau list, when our index came out, I ran 2. I was kind of enjoying having 2 lone ops at the back with a 36-inch range cyclic iron gun and being like, cool, I can shoot consistently over the game, you can't shoot me, and then when I do need to push, you've got 2 Ghostkeels to deal with. Now, if you're taking 1, you can take 2 now with the points decreases, roughly from an average list going down by around about 10%, so that's 200 points. You can take 2. And one thing I like about the Ghostkeels is they're not really there to do damage. You will get your points back over the course of the game, but more importantly, it's a good access to fall back and still do actions, and obviously go and tie some stuff up and giving you a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to your crisis suits so that they're not going to get tagged. So if you know that something big's coming your way to charge you, with the terrain and vehicles and you having to move around, sometimes you just can't avoid a charge coming your way, but you do need to get aggressive and do the damage. So I think Ghostkeels going up and tying stuff up can allow your crisis suits to not worry about being charged. So
They are tanky. They are really tanky.
they are really, really tanky. So if you're taking 1, you can now take 2. If you're taking 2, you could probably take
Yes.
3.
And really happy about that. My main list can have a dual Ghostkeel now.
Yeah. And
It's also one of those units. Sorry, it's one of those units that just like is so annoying to deal with as your opponent. Like
Yes.
sometimes you can feel like your Ghostkeel isn't doing too much, but it's like like you say, it's like a distraction carnifex. It really is annoying to deal with, and it feels way stronger for your opponent than it feels for you usually.
yeah, now
Agree.
I will tell you one thing straight away when I went to list building. I kind of might have made a list with 3 Riptides, 3 Ghostkeels, 12 Crisis Suits, 3 Cold Stars.
Go on, Kyle.
And just kind of gone, yo, here's 3 Ghostkeels, and then yo, here's 3 Riptides, and I'm all charging you, and I'm tagging you up, and then I'm falling back, and I'm shooting, and die. So there is that kind of feeling that I'm getting from Tau players that I'm really struggling against monsters or vehicle spam and monster mash and blah 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 blah. We'll just play that game right back and go, okay, cool, I'm going to charge you, I'm going to tie you up, and then it's wave after wave of just annoying stuff to deal with. Death Watch, for example, struggle dealing with multiple vehicles. Yes, we're talking the T10 and above, but even Riptides at T9 with the 4-up invuns can be swingy. You've always got like Stims, which, don't know about anyone else, but Stims never works on my crisis suits, but my god, if I put it on a single model, I suddenly roll really hot. So that is another way of building into this, because a Riptide at 180 points is a bargain, Ghostkeels at 160 is a bargain. You take 3 Ghostkeels, that's 480. You take 3 Riptides at 540. So there's 1,000 points for 1,020 points, and then you can still have your triple Cold Star crisis suits and probably squeeze in Envir as well. But there is a bit of a balance that is just like, quickly, let's make a list and spam stuff that's good. I think there will be like a toned down version with more mission play. But you could even do 2 Ghostkeels and 2 Riptides, which would not be half bad, if in my honest opinion. So, yeah.
It's kind of insane that the Riptide is basically a ghost killing cost now from before. It's actually pretty insane when you think about it.
And it's also good because the Riptide gets both ignoring all modifiers, and fall back and shoot. So, mid-table bully, and just sits on an objective. And with monster matches, because of the big base, you could literally cover objectives with 1 Ghostkeel and 1 Riptide, and then another objective, cover it with 1 Ghostkeel, 1 Riptide, and go, even if you charge me, you ain't touching the objective.
Yes, it took me 55 points.
It's interesting, yeah, because I felt a little bit when I played a Ghostkeel, so I'm pretty new to Tau, but I played 40k for a long time, and I played some TTS now the last couple of months, and I feel like sometimes, like, the lone up on a Ghostkeel, it's super strong on the, like, edge objectives, but sometimes putting it straight in the middle, I mean, sure, lone up is nice, but a lot of times they can just kind of walk forward, and it's okay for them to shoot it. And then, like, just exchanging that, I've also had 10 points to spare in my list, and it's just kind of interesting to think, like, okay, that would have been a Riptide with toughness 9, 14 wounds. No, it's a really chunky boy that's just going to stand there.
Yeah, I think the one thing I try and teach in terms of the trading aspect of the game is that Tau players in general don't like to lose their assets, and it goes back to how we were originally designed of like firing and fading away, shooting and scooting, that kind of stuff, and doing damage but not taking damage in return. But this edition is just aggressive. It's just a gunline gallery, and you can't avoid it. It happens whether you like it or not. So the key thing with Tau is that actually, if you did put out a 160-point Ghostkeel, they can't just shove 1 unit out to kill it. They have to send 2 resources or 2 killy things to try and take it down. And then you go, oh, I've lost a 160-point Ghostkeel. Okay, Crisis Suits now delete all of that. I'm now suddenly trading up. And if you do that 2-3 times, you win. Because you're not only saying to your opponent, I'm on these objectives, you have to come and deal with me, but you're also saying, you have to come and deal with me, and then I'll deal with you. And you're taking pressure off your Crisis Suits. So this is where I'm really liking the points changing to these big, tough monsters, because that is what you should be doing.
Yeah. That is like the big downside. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played. I'm still painting it up. I've just played a lot of TTS with pretty good. I'm playing with pretty good players, so I think it's decent. But like, I feel like it's just primary, right? Like that's the only issue, really. Like, what do I put on the objectives that are going to survive and give me primary points? And even if you try to deny your opponents as much as possible, I don't know. I feel like that's really interesting with this. Like being able to change out the Kroot Rider for a Riptide straight up with the point changes. It's pretty insane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the Riptide can be shot overboard, so basically he has 1 view angle somewhere, he can shoot it. What Ghostkeel does, he cannot. He needs to come. And because he needs to commit something, you can kill him. It's what I really like between both. But the cost on Riptide looks really nice now.
It's just, for me, it's like almost the other way around. I would just run up with my Riptide and be like, yeah, this guy is here, and go ahead, kill him, you know? Like, that's the problem for me hasn't been the, like, can I mute him? Yeah, I could mute him. I could mute him. That probably should be changed, but... no, but, like, I feel like the Ghostkeel is awesome for that, but once you, like, run up to the middle objective, yeah, lone up is nice with these, like, long tank guns and stuff, but usually there's, like, a way to sort of, where it's not as annoying. Sure, on the edges, sure, far out, it's really annoying with lone up, but, like, in the middle, it's not as big an issue. But then just running up with the Riptide and be like, go ahead. I don't know. I just can see that work sometimes.
Yeah, because I think the one thing that I really like doing with my Ghostkeels is, for example, I'm going to use a game that I had a couple of weeks ago against Necrons. I said to my friend, we play pretty much every other week, and I said to him, right, let's have a fun game before the balance Dataslate happens, and I'll just take some random list with no Crisis Suits, and you just take a random Necron list that doesn't have Lich Guard and stuff, and we'll just have some fun. And he went, yeah, sure. Turns up on Monday. Oh, sorry, I didn't have time to repack my army, so I'm taking my same broken list. And I was like, alright, cool. Nice. I had like Pathfinders, double breaches, triple Ghostkeel. And he had his Lichguard blob and a big Necron blob. And I went, okay, cool. I can't deal with either of those. So I'm just going to charge them and tie them up. And I basically just shoved my Ghostkeels into there. And I was like, just make sure that they don't get past the middle point. Thank you very much. And just kept tying stuff up. Didn't really care about loan up because the Doomsday Arcs I stayed away from. But the Necron blob I just charged in. And Ghostkeels do that incredibly well. And obviously Riptides will do it even better. So yeah, I think that's where I'm thinking in terms of those monsters that I want to take, because they can just perform mid-table bully. Like 9th edition, I used to use my triple Riptide as just yeet up the board, do the damage, and when count hits, you're going to cry. And that's exactly what we can do now because they're cheap. T9, okay, it's still killable. You still got to watch out. The Ghostkeels at least have a little bit of a fail-safe because they have the 2 stealth drones. Riptides, you just kind of swinging on that 4-up invuln. Whereas the Ghostkeels don't like anything that's decent AP in combat, like AP3, AP4, because that just goes straight through and they don't have an invuln. So you kind of got to play a little bit of checkers with them. Who's going up front first? Is it the Riptides? Is it the Ghostkeels? What do you need? And what's more important in that particular matchup? The other play is, and this could be crazy, but having 3 Ghostkeels deployed, depending on your matchup, mid-board or at least 9 inches away from their deployment and just going first and being like, right, charging Ghostkeels and keep them hemmed in their deployment while the Riptides push up to the middle and so do the Crisis Suits.
Yeah, I had a lot of success doing the same thing, but with Piranhas.
Yeah.
Turn 1, Piranhas go in. Turn 2, Ghostkeels go in. I had a Ghostkill charge 3 things in the game I won on the weekend.
Yep.
And it worked.
Piranha
Rama
I love.
Twice.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's one way to go in your build. I think we'll be seeing a lot of lists with 1 to 2 Riptides in again, which is good to see. But I'm kind of a bit hesitant to go full on Riptides, even though it's exciting. I'm like, I've done that for all of 9th edition, probably all of 8th edition. I'm like, I just want other stuff to be good. So let's move on to like Hammerheads. I'm sorry, I don't care how cheap you are, get in the bin. They're just trash. I'm sorry, it's so disappointing. No change to the amount of shots. No change to, well, actually, a big change in devastating wounds doesn't spill over now. So, meh. What are people's thoughts on Hammerheads? Are you taking them? Are you absolutely in love with them? Do you want to take them? Or are you just thinking, no, I'm sad?
They're persistent.
Oh, I was just going to say quickly, I'm taking them because I don't currently have enough painted models to sort of fill the rest of my points, and that's only kind of gotten worse right now.
Right.
But I think as soon as I can get rid of them, I think I will, because I've rolled a 1 into a 1 too many times.
Yeah.
To with them.
The one shot, I don't. The good balance will be to have the same weapons and the broadside. 3 shots are better than 1.
Yeah.
But for the cost, I prefer to take 1 broadside.
Yeah, I mean, the Hammerhead, it's just that one shot, it doesn't ignore invuns, and it's swingy. Jerabel just said, it's just really swinging. It's just like, I don't want to go into a game having, like, anxiety level 1000, and just going, please don't miss, please don't miss, please don't, oh, god damn it. And also, I compare them, obviously the broadside comparison is obvious, broadside's just better. And also, the other comparison to someone's put in the chat about Long Strike and Iron Hammerhead. So, Iron Hammerheads, I'd rather just take a Ghostkeel, because then I can do the same amount of damage with flat 3 damage when I overcharge, but from 36 inches away and not be targeted. So, for an extra, 20 points for a Ghostkeel, I'd rather just take that.
30. Yeah, 30 points.
And that's annoying because a Hammerhead is an iconic Tau tank, and even against killing another tank, it's swingy. So and you don't really need it to take on knights, because you can just mass shot a knight or use broadsides, which are way more tanky than a hammerhead. So I think it's a big swing and a miss for the hammerheads, including long strike. So they needed a bit of a rules change and a bit of a revamp to the actual rail gun to make them viable for me.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, everything is the same. I think that's important. I'm a bit surprised by that. Pretty much. I mean, Devastating Wounds is worse, but apart from that, most is the same. Like the models are still the same. They do the same thing. Hammerheads just aren't good. Like you said, like it doesn't really matter what they cost. They don't really. I mean, sure, they're 10 points. I'll take 3, but you know, like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I did a bold statement. I was like, even if they were free, I wouldn't take them. I think someone called. I think it was Crawford.
They can run it, yeah.
I think Crawford called me on my shit and went, "Yeah, but you would." I was like, "Yeah, I would." I'd just shove 3 hammerheads in your face as T9 vehicles, going, "Cool, deal with them." I'd use them as bait, not as damage dealers.
Don't even mount the gun, just remove the gun from them.
Just make it a bloody, just no gun, just a base, and be like, yeah, I'll deal with it. Now, Kroot. This I'm happy to see. I kind of said that I think they should go down to 50 points and 100 points for 20, but not too far off. So, let's have a look. One thing I haven't checked is Kroot Shaper. Please tell me he's not stayed the same.
40 points.
How many points is he? I can't see it. My eyes
40. He's 40.
Oh, for God's sake!
So he took 10 points less.
He should be 25 points, like he was.
Yeah.
So, I was interested to see if they'd have gone Kroot Shaper for 25 points and a 10-point Kroot model, 10 models for like 50 points. That would be 75 points for a unit that can go and charge something that's trying to sit on an objective, like small trading units, and go, cool, I've shot you a little bit with something else, got you down to 1 or 2 models, charged you, killed you, now I've got a 4 up, feel no pain for the rest of the game. And I'm sat on an objective going, behind cover or whatever it is, and going, cool, come and deal with me. I still don't think the points reduction is enough to do that trick that I'd like, because if you did 20 Kroot, 110, it's still 150 points, that if you did pull that off, it would be very, very good. But it's not quite 3 crash suits for 180 points, is it?
It's almost a Ghostkeels.
Yeah, exactly, it's a Ghostkeels as well. But I do think units of 10 Kroot, you'll probably see. Just to kind of hold a backfield objective for 55 points and screen. I do think I've been, in all the games I've had, because I've not been taking infantry units and fire warriors and basically anything with like more than 1 or 2 models, I have found that screening can sometimes get a little bit of, can be problematic. So having 10 Kroot sat at the back of the board, screening would be good, but the moment you come against any indirect, and trust me, indirect hasn't been nerfed enough. You're still going to have Eldar players with triple Night Spinners now. You're going to have Marines with probably double or triple Whirlwind, and then the moment they target Kroot, they're dead. So it forces you back to the lone op. Firesight Marksmen have still stayed the same at 70 points. Shadowsun's obviously been reduced, which is good, to 100 points. She's dropped down by 40 points, which is huge. So I'd rather just... Yeah, it's really good. 100 points for Shadowsun. That surprised me. I thought she'd go down by about 20 points.
Yeah, but now I really can see her in our list.
I mean, especially if you ran triple Riptide, triple Ghostkeels, just have her in the middle, right? Given them all reroll ones.
There was an argument when she was 140 on whether you actually needed her to get 100.
Yeah,
because now 100, but everything else is also cheaper.
She's now only 30 points more expensive than like the Firesight Marksman, and has far better output than them.
Yeah, and regen for stratagems on a 5+. Yeah.
When you don't forget.
Yeah, Zion, that's pretty much at 100 points she's basically free. And I did actually drop Shadowsun in a last couple of games just to see if I liked it without her. And actually I did, but now that she's 100 points, I'm like, and back in she goes.
Yeah, but you need also to be careful because everything is cheaper. So, okay, she is cheaper, but everything else we use is also take down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Hey, Commander, I have a question, but I think it's not about a specific unit. It's more about a list that we've been using. It's the one with Farsight, Shadowsun, 2 commanders, and then 1 unit of 3 broadsides, and the rest is, the standard that we kind of use. So that list, I think it's like around 250 points down.
Okay.
I made the math this morning, but I don't recall. So somewhere in the ballpark of 250 points. What would you recommend to add to that list?
So, if it's the one that I'm thinking about with, so you said it's got Farsight in, it's one of the other lists that we were using, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what I would probably look at is a second unit of stealth, another unit of tetras, and that's what, 140 points. If it's about 200, 140, you got 110. I'd probably drop I think that list that you're talking about has 3 single piranhas, right?
2.
What I'd try to do is I'd try to probably put in a stealth unit and another Ghostkeel. Or a Ghostkeel.
Mm-hmm.
Just to basically give you a little bit of mid-board presence. I've got so many lists that I'm just trying to remember which one it is we discussed, but I think it's all going to change from today anyway. We're all going to kind of like go back to the drawing board. But I would, if for 250 points, I've been looking at either putting in a unit of broadsides and just dropping 20 points from somewhere, just to give you another hammer unit, or fill it out with more mission play, like stealth suits, another unit of tetras. Yeah, that's where I would probably go.
Okay.
Because the broadsides for 270 points, and if you're 250 points, you only have to drop 20 points from somewhere. It could be dropping a piranha and putting in like a Kroot rider, and then that saves you 20 points. So you lose a second piranha, but you get a Kroot rider to pretty much do something for secondaries for you, and then have 3 broadsides. Which is a really good trade for me for points.
Okay.
What do you mean? The cancellation of double rapid ingress.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you seen
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
I know, which is really, really fucking annoying, because that was my trick that I basically kept under. I tried to keep secret for LGT, because trust me, it wins games. But apparently, GW have said no.
Yeah, and I tried it, and it's so much amazing part.
It was so
when
good.
you see your adversary, yes, again, drop one here and one here. What? Yes.
Yep. Well, I
And
did it
two
last
times.
night, and I was like, double, there we are. And they were like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
he was skeptical at the start, and
Yeah.
when he looked at it, he said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did you plan for 3 crash suits and a cold star? Oh, good for you. Did you plan for 2 cold stars and 2 3-man crash suits? No, well, you're screwed. So, yes, unfortunately, that is now in the bin, which is sad. So, probably not going to take the Puretide chip anymore, which is sad,
100%.
because I did like doing it for the double AP from turn 3 onwards. That was a nice little additional. But just taking the Puretide chip to do that, you can't Overwatch twice, you can't Rapid Ingress twice, so what's the point?
And it's not free. I don't.
Yeah, it's not free.
They didn't change that, so basically.
No, it's not free. There was a nice trick that what I was going to do with it was, with the points changes, I was going to have a second stealth suit unit, and I was going to rapid ingress 2 crisis teams and cold stars for free, and then save my CP for turn 2. If I go second, I'll have 4 CP, and then double fire and fade. So rapid ingress and free, go and hit hard, and then fire and fade away with both units, or fire and fade towards them. So I could still take Puretide ship to do double fire and fade. It's a consideration, but it's no longer just an auto take in my list now. I was centering my entire lists around that trick, and it was going to wreck face, and I was looking forward to it, but now it's dead. So sad. Thanks for that, Zorro.
Just to ask about Kroot for a second again.
Sorry, your audio was cut out there. What did you say, buddy?
Oh, no, sorry. Just to ask about Kroot a second again. Kroot Farstalker squad, 70 points with infiltrate and stealth. What do we reckon about that?
Sounds cool, but give me a leaf blower and they go away.
Well,
your stealth suits are 60 now, so
yeah, it's cute and they look cool, and I'm totally on board for kind of pirate Kroot, because that's pretty much what they are. That but they still just die.
Yeah,
and it's sad.
Well, let's hope for a Kroot.
And I'd rather take 10 Pathfinders for 90 points with a recon drone and infiltrate them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kroot Farstalkers, coolest box of Kroot ever. Trash on the board, unfortunately.
No, they are for kill team.
Yeah.
You want to do kill team, you play that. But
yeah.
Nothing else.
And even if you did infiltrate them 9 inches away and go first and get to do a charge, your opponent's gonna be like, "Oh, is this what you call melee? Oh, that's cute." And then just slap you back. So poor Kroot, they will one day have their moment to shine, but it is not today. Kroot Hounds, same points, because they realised if they made them any cheaper, we would just spam. If there were 20 points for 4 models, we would just spam 3 units of them and have it done. Right, 60 points, cool, there's my 3 screens. So at least...
But it's 0 plus fraction, so...
Yeah. So, long strike, same as Hammerheads, meh. Pathfinders. Okay, so, I'm going to seriously consider Pathfinders if going down the route of Riptides and Ghostkeels. Having a Pathfinder squad be able to spot for 2 Riptides is going to be good. If you're threat overloading stuff and going Riptides, Ghostkeels, come and deal with them, they're not going. Yes, they could shoot the Pathfinders and kill the Pathfinders, no problem. But then they're not shooting other stuff. So I think Pathfinders would be really good for 90 points to support your Riptides and your Ghostkeels. Because when I used a unit of Pathfinders with that stupid game against Necrons that I talked about, Pathfinders spotting for my Ghostkeels I found extremely useful. And let's not forget that they actually do have some decent guns. The rail rifles, the silly grenade launcher thing that they have, it's pretty good. And for 90 points, they do put quite a lot of output and utility to your army.
Yeah, but indirect fire.
Yep.
And kill them so quickly.
Yep, but indirect fire will. Indirect fire is. All they need to do with indirect fire was change it to be -1 ballistic skill and give you an extra save like they did in 9th.
Yeah, and it fixed a lot.
And it's fixed. But apparently they didn't get the memo, and they didn't learn, and it's still going to be oppressive.
I didn't see anything on about the direct fire, so...
Yeah.
There is nothing? It's still the same?
Let's have a look.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the perpetrators that like the guard indirect or Desolator mage read and stuff like that got...
Yeah, Desolator now they are by 5 only. You cannot take them by 10.
I mean, looking at guard, like all their indirect went up almost 50% in points.
Yeah.
Quick, just a point. Yeah, just point to change.
Are you?
Oh.
Kyle?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you plan to build a list today that is like 2 Ghostkeels, 2 Riptide? Because I'm currently working on it, and I'm struggling to see what we could remove from what we have. I can't get the 12 crisis suits by keeping all those clothing assets.
You can't.
Why 12? You can. It's not 12. It's 18. Crazy suit. 18 crazy suit.
So
I was thinking similar, like, oh, my list changed by about 180 points. Maybe just 3 more crisis seats. We're golden.
okay, so let me just do a couple of numbers.
Oh, the application is not working anymore. As a Game Workshop, you can create only 1 list now.
Yeah, I've been trying to updating it. It's saying one.
Guys, I updated the Excel spreadsheet from the Art of War. No, stat check, actually, it's stat check. So if you won't mind, I'm happy to share.
Yeah,
Just put it in this chat.
Futsal Waka, could you just like mute, because that's where the disturbance is coming from. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a humming sound that keeps happening.
So can I share that?
Just as a heads up, see if you're subscribed to Warhammer Plus, you do still get like the app.
Yeah, but it's 6.5 euro or I don't know, pound.
Yeah, it's about it's I think it said about $6 or something, so it'd be like £5 a month or something like that.
It's pretty stupid that you can still change the lists though. So if you just had a lot of lists, it seems like you don't need to pay it, because
yeah, I've got like lots, and you can just still go into them and change them.
I have extra lists from all my armor, so it's like okay, whatever.
Okay, so I will use that.
yeah.
Everything inside and just play.
I shared the link.
Thank you.
Cool. So
because it's quicker to do that.
I think Zoro, to answer your question, like I'm literally just looking at points right now. I've deliberately not gone into the app and just started spamming lists. I'm going to do. I'm going to be working out tweaks. I know there's not much time between now and LGT, but you don't need to worry because LGT, the submission for the lists will be on the 24th of September. It's always the Sunday before, so we've got plenty of time between now and then. I'm finalising my something that I'm doing. I'm going to be announcing it probably late today or tomorrow once I've just finalised a few details, but I'm going to be doing a Masterclass series of the Road to LGT, so it's basically a plan where I'll be giving any of the people that sign up a full run through of each mission, where to deploy, how to deploy, what to look out for, threat ranges, angles, the whole lot, and even doing PDF presentation for people to print out and take to the LGT. So I'm doing a lot of work with helping those people that are going to LGT to have the best chance of success, and I think part of that is going to be definitely how we adapt to the balanced data slate and how we change our lists, because lots of things have changed. The double rapid ingress going away, and obviously we're going to have loads of options but I would say in terms of your Riptides and Ghostkeels, I think maybe it's whether or not you do 2 Riptides, 1 Ghostkeel, or 2 Ghostkeels, 1 Riptide with the list that we've currently been kind of doing together.
I went broadside as now.
Yeah, that's the thing. So broadsides are good, and I think with broadsides, you just gotta strat reserve them and go for the angles that way.
And however, to include the 3 broadsides, because I like them maximum effective, I had not enough points to get the 3rd Cold Star plus Crisis, so I took the Enforcer, and I think it's not that big of a problem, because then into MSU you can easily split the Enforcer that's gonna have the Patient Hunter, and you can just have you can drop somewhere the commander and somewhere else the 3 crisis, and then you just shoot more stuff to dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Jared Bell, I got your message. I'll DM you afterwards once I've got the details and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be good, and I appreciate that you had life disruptions and going into LGT. We know practice is definitely nerve wracking, and I know that lots of people have been messaging me like Nassim, and I'm going, let's practice. I'm like, dude, I don't want to play your bullshit broken list 24/7. I want to go in motivated, not demoralized. So 6 broadsides and 12 crisis suits. Alright, yeah. I mean, bro, just going hard. Just going hard and fast.
Well, for like on the wider meta though, we're not going to need the broadsides because now the Wraith Knights are gone, vehicles are coming back.
Yes. I think there's still going to be lists.
Marines are going to spam tanks.
Well,
all the inventory's not great. Desolation Marines are gone. They're going to spam tanks.
Yeah, they're gonna spam tanks. Desolators are now capped to 5.
They're dead.
They are
and
dead,
200 points.
and they're dead. So they're gonna go whirlwinds because they're a cheap alternative. And then tanks, dreadnoughts. I think it's the oh god, the dreadnought's got a shitload of guns.
The new one with the -1 damage as well, which again is really good against the crisis boost.
Yeah, so it's just basically a boatload of shots coming at you, so you will see some of that. I think
also
maybe
on the wider thing, Thousand Suns, they got hit but not too hard. Doombolt wrecked our big suits.
Yeah,
we get the 4 up. We get the 4 up on the broadside, so that's really another thing against just taking the Riptides is that Thousand Suns will be there. They will be on the top tables.
Yeah, they will. I also think that the missile, the broadsides, the way that you arm them is still going to be rails, plasma rifles, seeker missiles, and you give them 5 missile drones and 1 marker drone.
Yeah, okay.
And you just go mash shots.
You stop with the Macadron.
Say again?
Because for Macadron, I never use a Macadron on broadside because most of the time they are spotted.
Mm-hmm.
They do not spot most of the time. I don't.
You take it because then you can split fire them better with the strat. Because you have the thing that usually spots them shoot first, and then you can split fire the broadside without having minus penalty.
Yeah, and
when you bring in the 3 on from the side.
Yeah,
and also I find that it's pretty good if for example you are going to build into 2 heavy damage dealers that need to maybe really tag team something down, then that marker drone, I'm only losing 2 missile drone shots and it's worth just having the utility. And then if, for example, I don't have any angles to shoot first turn and I advance them, then if I can get part of them to see something, the marker drone can still allow me to spot. Because it can advance and still spot. So I just think for losing 2 shots on the missile drone, it's worth it.
Just, yeah.
I agree.
You mentioned the Thousand Suns just before. A friend of mine who was playing them, he lost 150 points on his list. That's not nothing.
Yeah, but
they took it strong.
They can go Temple Surge, double Doom Bolt. Oh, there goes Riptide in 1 shot with its 70-point unit.
Yeah.
And that will happen guaranteed, and you lose it.
Yep, agreed.
So it is.
I guess they will have way less scoring assets in the list.
There is a thing. There is a thing to decide whether it's Riptides or Broadsides. I think they are in contention with each other. I think you got to decide which way you're going to go. I don't think you'd be able to do a mixture of Broadsides, Ghostkeel, crisis suits, and Riptides. I think you'll have to choose one route and stick to it. I think
the Riptide doesn't the damage output. If they're the distraction Khan effects, you don't need them for damage. The same reason you don't run your Ghostkeels for damage.
But then at that point, I'd rather just have Ghostkeels, because at least then low enough. I know the Doom Bolt can still affect whatever it affects, but I do generally think that the broadsides will be good, but the problem with broadsides is that you do realistically only get 2 rounds of shooting and maybe an overwatch or 2 because of the angles.
Yeah. Agreed.
Whereas Riptides can be doing the angles all the time.
Does anybody run numbers on 3 broadsides against Magnus?
Just roll 6s, bro, and you're all sorted.
Yeah.
Just think that broadsides remove open some matchups and make them really way easier. Everything that is monster or vehicle mash, then you will have much more impact into these matchups than just the Riptides.
Yeah, I do think I agree with that, Zorro. I think they do open up some of those. It takes the pressure off of having to kind of put all the weight onto your mass shot cyclics. And I found that I don't struggle when I'm doing the mass shots, but I'm definitely having to think about every bit of positioning, where I'm choosing to kill, where I'm choosing to set up my kill zones and screen. But broadsides could just be like, "This is my alleyway, bitch. Come in there and I'll kill you."
While just to get the pressure of the crisis suits, if you go Riptides, then it's all about positioning, and it's way more difficult because you won't kill big targets with the Riptides. They'll help, but that's it.
So the other units, Piranhas obviously stayed the same because they were already dirt cheap, and if they got reductions, then oh my god, it would be 9 Piranhas in every list. Flyers, let's just not even bother. Apart from the Tiger Shark that I know Tez has been loving, but that stayed the same.
Audio froze?
Huh?
No, he didn't froze.
Must be your internet, bro.
We lost Kyle.
No, we didn't lose him.
No, I'm still here.
I think we lost...
I think we lost Zorro.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, as I was saying. Where was I? Yeah, Skyray. Okay. Thoughts?
That's fun. I love this model, but...
What's it comparable to? It's 130 points.
So cheaper than Ghostkeels.
Cheaper than Ghostkeels.
Let me open
More expensive than the Commander.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have 3 shots, so basically you have the Seeker rack.
Yeah.
This is why we take it. 3 shots, strength 14, minus 3 AP, d6 plus 1. And you can reroll hit for flying units.
Yeah.
This is not bad. Because they have 3 shots. This is the important part.
It's a tech piece, right? Like, if for some reason in the meta you get value out of the fly keyword, then maybe. But yeah, if you don't,
can I add some points here? Personally, I always think that Skyrays are really comparable to broadsides. 2 Skyrays. Skyrays is basically the same price as 3 broadsides. So with the exact same number of shots, you have 6 seeker missiles, 6 rear rifle shots. So it's really comparable between the 2. It's really hard to figure out which the other 2 are actually. You have higher movement in the broadsides, but you also have broadsides and better durability in general.
Yeah, but one thing is broadside have seeker, so you have 3 seekers on the top of the 6 shot. You have plasma, and plasma does some damage. But yeah, it's strength 10, 14 wound.
Yeah, but T10 isn't. I think it's decent.
Yeah, agree.
I'm beginning with the issue with the Skyrays that we have the Hammerheads. Try just moving them.
True.
On a board with dense terrain. It is painful.
But I mean, it's better than moving a broadside.
Yeah,
that's
you can move twice. So
yeah.
And because it's heavy, you can move it. The Hammerhead, the The problem is they are heavy, so basically you do not want to move them to have the bonus. They are not heavy. They are assault for some stuff, so they can still target if they want. Yeah.
So I think
you can have some indirect fire.
Yeah, great. What I think is going to be a really good combo to go back to, and it's not like we're discovering the wheel here. It's broadsides are going to be taking over all of our heavy damage dealers like Skyrays and Hammerheads and stuff, because you can take Seekers on them. You've got Twin Link Plasma, and you've got the rails, and you've got the missile drones. All that's going to happen is you're going to go, okay, here's my anti-tank. I've got Shadowsun nearby because she's 100 points. They're going to be rerolling ones, and if I want to spot for them, I can spot with a 60-point unit of stealth suits to give them reroll ones to wound, just to proc the devastating wounds a little bit easier. And then you just go, cool. I'll be hit if I stay still, God forbid. I'm hitting on 2s with reroll 1s. If I'm not, I'm hitting on 3s rerolling 1s, and then rerolling 1s to wound. Or if you need something that's maybe got, you need to hit something that's got -1 to hit stealth, you just go full Tetra rerolls.
Yep.
So I think if we're taking any anti-tank specifically, broadsides, and then maybe a couple of piranhas here, there, and everywhere with a few seekers just to tickle the pickle, I think that's the way to do it. And I don't see the Skyray fulfilling that role with that combination that I've just mentioned. I think that the broadsides, back to Shadowsun broadsides, as your sit on objective, cover a firing angle and go, come at me, bro. Or alternatively, broadsides walking on from a flank and going, yeah, rapid ingress broadside unit. I think rapid ingress and broadsides is fun.
Never use that.
Yeah, it's good.
Could be nice.
Yeah. You just rapid ingress them and go, okay, cool. And then you move them, and then you go and shoot. So I'm interested in broadsides being back because I do like them. They're cool models.
Yeah, broadsides and Shadowsun are pretty much 2 Riptides as well, which is kind of interesting. It's 10 points difference.
I think there wouldn't be any conversation if Riptide still had some sort of utility like firing and fading, like the old Nova abilities. I think that would just be an obvious, take them just for those shenanigans alone. But I think the Riptide losing a lot of its utility does put a bit of a downer on it. But again, for 180 points, it's still a good platform. But I think that the broadsides are way more tankier and obviously perform the role specifically to deal with anti-tank better. Whereas the Riptide, its damage is good on its gun, don't get me wrong. But your crisis suits are already fulfilling that role. Whereas you need something just to take off the pressure when it's dealing with your anti-tank.
And it's only 10 movement for the Riptide.
Yep. So I think the thing is with broadsides is now whether you take them in single broadsides or a unit of 3.
Nah, 2-2s.
2-2s?
2-2?
Yeah, telling you, 2-2s.
2-2s.
Is it a way?
You have one squad sitting on the field covering an angle, you have another squad in strategic reserve.
Yeah, I like it.
I think 3 is overkill and a lot of points against most things. 1 just doesn't kill anything.
Whereas 2 is enough of a threat. Yeah.
The 2 is swingy.
Yeah, but it's enough of a threat. And then if you did, for example, I like where Crawford's going with this because I was when I did 2 units of 3 broadsides. That's why I put the marker drones on them. I know it's overkill, but if I wanted to go into a big night, I could go coordinate to engage 2 broadsides into 1 big night. Whereas you can still do that if you did really need to kill something dead, and if it was swingy with 2, then you could always double bubble them and go, right, let's tag team.
But you have 8, 4 basic broadside.
Because I feel like if you take a squad of 3, right, you're getting 1, maybe 2 turns of shooting off with that squad, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Against most enemies on most good terrain. And that's, well, it's not 330 now, it's what, 270 now? But it's still almost like 300 points of your army that's doing nothing for 3 turns of the game.
Yeah, so 4 broadsides would set you back 360?
Yeah.
Yep.
with Shadowsun, it's 460. It's a good level of it's 25% of your army to deal with anti-tank. So let's have a look at. I think there's not really much else. Yavara, interesting.
Yeah, the two down, Arvana and Yavar.
Yeah. Strike teams, again, the AP, meh. The Overwatch on 4+ is nice, but meh. No thanks.
Storm Surge to whittle down 40 points.
Then I'll go down 5.
Yeah, and then the freaking rule for Titanic changing. So you can still hide behind ruins now. Titanic no longer have that ability to just shoot wherever.
Wait, they changed that? Nice.
Yep. So you can, as long as you're not basically towing into the terrain, they still follow the normal line of sight rules for obscuring and stuff. Which, to be fair, most tournaments were organising their terrain around that anyway by just blocking out the windows, and you could still tuck in. It just makes it harder now for Titanic to actually do so what they were doing previously. So it helps us massively. I know Wraith Knights are going away, but against Knights it's going to help us because you can just like stage behind the terrain and go, well, you can't see me, don't care, and then you can just jump out and always get the jump on the Titanic models rather than them automatically forcing you to hide like a bitch.
And they can fire Overwatch also.
Yeah, they can.
Basically, you kill him, he cannot do anything.
Which is really good for single piranhas going straight up to a big knight and going, hello, how you doing? Meep, meep, meep. And then they go, oh no, I failed. And then you're like, cool, now no rotate Iron Shield for you, now get wrecked. I think, Will, you've said if we want Keels, Broads, we'll have to drop Crisis. Not necessarily, but there is potential to just not go 12 Crisis Suits and just go 9, so a 6-man and a 3-man. I think that's still valid. I think I'm going to be looking at that because of the double rapid ingress trick going away means that I can't quite just overload a flank how I used to, so having 2 units of 2 broadsides and sacrificing, I don't know, let's say a 3 Crisis and a Cold Star would save me a lot of points. And then I can have maybe, again I haven't, because I've not bothered to pay GW and I haven't gone to my lists and altered them, but I can do easily. But I'm going to be playing around with 9 Crisis Suits, maybe 12, depends on how I want to squeeze stuff in. Farsight, Zion, I got your message, 6 man with Coulson, 3 man with Farsight, now has legs. It always has legs, but the problem is, it's just not Envir. Envir is so good. It's just so good. Like, the Death Watch game I had last night, I had Envir left, and everything had died. Like, 1 Cold Star Precision Hunter was on his own, killed 10 Desolators with full rerolls, and I had a Cold Star, Envir, 1 Stealth, and 1 Tetra left. He had 4 dudes and 2 Plasma Interceptors left. So, the Envir just being able to go, hi, I'm on an objective. Do you want to come and deal with me? You're going to have to, well, as I get primary. Oh, you are going to come and deal with me. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just choose when the appropriate time to pop my 2-up invuln, whether it's going to be in combat, and let you just shoot me, and I'll be you -1 to hit, -1 to wound. For 65 points, it's ludicrous. And he's just an auto take, which means it pushes Farsight out. Even though Farsight is 90 points now, it's just an auto include for me. It's another lone op. It's another annoying trade piece that is so hard to kill. And I think I prefer Envir, the hologram, over the big bad boy Farsight. And it's annoying because you know I love Farsight. But it's just a shame.
I agree. Especially that now you can both have the speed of multiple Crisis and Cold Star plus the broadsides. So you don't need the anti-tank aspect of Farsight.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
The choice is even easier now.
I mean, I generally think with like the points changes to a lot of the top armies, Envir might be the best costed unit in the game.
Yeah. For a hologram, it's hilarious.
Well, and for all those people wanting to do melee, just smack people with his guard.
Oh yeah, you mean the most pointless weapon in the game still always manages to get through for me. I'm like, yeah, he's never gonna hit. Oh, he hit. He's never gonna. Oh, he wounded. Oh, you got 2-up save. What's your roll of 1? Oh, you rolled a 1. Lol.
Shame.
Shame.
Just avoid the units that have devastating wounds.
Yep.
Just please.
Yep. Or just do what you did to me, Zorro, and just take an entire 6-man crisis suit and a cold start to the face and still be alive on 3 wounds.
Usually, you did that.
Roll better. This is what I've done.
Roll better, bro. I handed you 48 wounds, and you just slow rolled one at a time, and it took forever. It felt like an eternity.
you know what, Kyle? Maybe into the Tower of that we played together. This one was the game with the most epic moment.
Absolutely.
Because and your ghost kill just the turn after that was just insane.
I know that ghost kill, man. For those of you who don't know, this one ghost kill turned round to 3 crisis suits and a cold star. He'd taken 3 wounds on his crisis suit from overcharging his guns. This one ghost kill got 12 shots out of 6 because I rolled 3 6s, and then just deleted all 3 crisis suits and took 3 wounds off his cold star, and then a fusion blaster from a stealth suit killed his cold star.
No.
It was hilarious for me. Just as it was hilarious for Zorro when his Unvar went, "You what?" Oh man. So yeah, the rest of the points and stuff, guys, if from a glance it looks good. Feeling a little bit disappointed that they didn't adjust any of our rules, but I think we should count ourselves lucky because the points reductions weren't just minor, they're huge. And what I liked is that they didn't just kind of go, we'll lower all the points of the stuff that you're not taking and keep the stuff that you are taking the same, because that would be pointless, because we'd just be like, well, we're still not taking them because we're going to take our efficient units that do damage, i.e. aka crisis suits, cold stars, broadsides. So the fact that they gave us points reductions on the stuff that we are spamming is huge. It gives you either one or two things in your list. It either allows you to ramp up the aggression by taking more damage dealers, or it gives you enough points to put in more utility play, and that's the way you should be looking at your lists. We open up a bit of creativity again by potentially exploring more Ghostkeels or Riptides. Yes, agreed. It's a nice little change to just insert 12 crisis suits, insert 3 cold stars, insert commander spam, but there's still going to be an element of that until we get our codex, and that's just what we're going to have to live with from now until spring next year. So I think Tau are going to probably go from 40% win rate, probably closer to, I'd say, I'm probably going to say we're going to go between 46 and 52. The problem being is that Eldar are still going to be top, and I think watch out for Farsight podcast, because I think Vic VJ, as polite and lovely as he is going to lose his shit, because I think he hit the nail on the head when he talked about Eldar in the recent one, saying GW need to give them no wiggle room, absolute zero, nerf them into oblivion, and then apologise in January if they have them, because they deserve it. But the fact that the Phantasm is now on infantry signals to them to just go all infantry. And what's going to happen is it's going to be 20 Wraith Guard, loads and loads and loads of infantry, Dire Avengers, your Shadow Spectres, everything like that, and you're going to have 3 Night Spinners, and it's still going to be indirect. The Night Spinners are going to mean that you can't advance, your -2 movement, so your crisis suits will be moving back to 10 inches. That's presuming that you have a cold star in there, otherwise it's 8 inches, and you're not going to get the angles. And then they're just going to swarm the board with loads of infantry, and they're going to Phantasm and give you a real hard kind of game to have to try and move around. So, and I think that's not just going to be against Tau, it's going to be against everybody. So Eldar are still going to be strong, and they needed to not do what they did to Harlequins in 9th, where they were like, we'll nerf you, oh, it's not quite worked, we'll nerf you, oh, it's not quite worked, we'll nerf you, oh, okay, it's worked. And that's exactly what they're doing, so they're repeating the same mistakes. GSC, I think that's going to be interesting, because obviously the battle line, it's on a 5+, but +1 if it's in the first 2 turns, and +1 for battle line. So I think that might be enough, but still, I think, 30 Wraith Guard incoming, potentially, Jesus. So I think Eldar are still going to be top meta. I don't think GSC are going to be quite as oppressive, and we'll have to wait and see for the rest. But I definitely think that Eldar are still going to be strong at LGT. I think the T-Suns are still going to be strong. Death Watch maybe in some sort of flavour, but not quite as oppressive as they used to be because the Desolate is going away. But then they could just replace that with 3 Whirlwinds. So yeah, Tau are going to get a boost in their win rate because he's going to get extra stuff. But you're still going to have the same troubles against Eldar. They're still going to be our predator.
Question.
Yep.
How do you rate the Tau buff versus all the other struggling factions?
If I'm completely honest, I've literally just woke up today and just looked at the Tau ones. I've briefly looked at other things. I think I'm interested to see what happens with the poor Space Dwarves, the Votan, and Death Guard. Apparently they got something nice.
My Votan list went down about 350 points.
I suspected they'd get...
And they start the game by putting 4 sets of 2 judgment tokens. So they're still going to suck. They're going to be a lot better than they were.
Yeah.
And same with Death Guard. Their new contagions are no joke.
So we've got... Yeah, so let's have a look at this now, right? So we've got Death Guard. During the declared battle formation step, select one of the sicknesses below. Until the end of the battle, all units from your army with the Nurgle's gift ability gain the selected sickness. So Skull Squirm is while an enemy unit is within contagion range, worsen the ballistic skill and weapon skill by 1. Rattle Joint, while an enemy unit is within contagion range, worsen the save characteristic of models in the enemy unit by 1. And Scarabus Soul Rot, while an enemy unit is within contagion range of this unit, worsen the leadership and objective control characteristics of models by 1. So that third one, meh. The other 2, interesting. The ballistic skill and weapon skill will hurt us, but you can easily... You've still got speed. The save, meh. I mean, you've got invuns. Worsen the save characteristic. Oh.
Is it?
Save.
Yeah,
so invuns are reduced.
It was also invul, no?
Yeah, while an enemy unit is within contagion range, worsen the save characteristic of models in that
Not the
enemy
armor.
unit. Not armor, the save.
Black Goodbye mentioned this earlier in the chat a couple of days ago or yesterday that he said that this also hits invuns.
It does hit invuns because it says the save, not armor save.
Oh, this is not bad.
That's not bad at all. Okay, so both of those 2 would be good, but again, look, Death Guard, they're slow, you're fast, stick to your strength, be fine. But obviously, their points reductions, that just gives them more stuff to play with. So that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, they're also not that slow. Like, this is definitely an army that's not just going to be taking 60 Plague Marines and a Rhino.
Yeah.
And, like, there's going to be contagion everywhere.
I checked the rules and the save, the model save, it's just the armor. Basically, when you take the wording, it's not invulnerable save, because when you talk about invulnerable saves, you put the name, but saves, it's only the SV that is in the datasheet. So basically, it's only armor.
Okay.
If you take the real wording, invulnerable save, it's invulnerable save, and save, it's the SV of the index. The
okay.
sheet.
I think with this one, I think it's going to be one of those conversations that will go over the internet and it'll be clarified somewhere by But I think at the moment people are going to be like, oh, it's a save, so it includes your invulnerable save. So let's just sit on that. But I'm going to ask a few people and see what their take is. But I get what you're saying.
As intended is definitely not an invul save. You can read about invul saves, and it says like the controlling player can either choose to use either a model's invul save or its save characteristic. Like it's pretty clear in the rulebooks that the save characteristic is not the same as the invul save. But yeah.
So while we're talking clarifications, I saw a screenshot earlier saying models that have shot are no longer eligible to shoot.
Yes.
So
Daisy Chain, thank fuck for that. It's gone.
I haven't confirmed it. I just saw a screenshot.
It is right. Yeah. So Daisy chaining is now dead, I even had someone be like, messaging me being like, oh, it means that when we're guiding a unit, we can't shoot. No. Daisy chaining is now gone, but your observer unit can still shoot.
Yeah, but cannot be spotted.
Correct. Which is exactly how I've been playing it. The only time that I've been playing it any differently was when I went to WTC, because they specifically said that you could, and it was a shark tank, and I asked the main rules judge why, and he said, well, I know a person that's been in the multiple meetings when those tower rules have been discussed, and he explicitly didn't say that it couldn't be done, so he just took that as a go-ahead. But now it is dead in the water, no more daisy chaining, so for those of you who have been relying on it, you just go back to basics. And this is why I didn't want to use it, because I didn't want to get in the habit of using it and then being reliant on it and then having to go back to square one and be like, oh, how does it work again? So, yeah, no more daisy chaining. So, overall, I think it's time to get doing some lists, going back to the drawing board. I think we've got a lot of stuff like Ghostkeels, Broadsides are coming back, and just generally more stuff. But anybody got any specific questions that they want to ask?
I can be happy to inform you that there's been some changes to Harlequins too, which is my main army.
Mm-hmm.
So Death Jesters went up 20 points, and all other Harlequin units are unchanged. So that's exactly what we were looking for. That sounds great.
Yeah, well, Harlequins, I think, are going to come back in, because I've heard on the grapevine a very good player got absolutely steamrolled by Harlequins, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he was like, what the hell? So Harlequins are definitely mass infantry, loads of activations, loads of MSU, and that's going to be a problem. And I think any army that has loads and loads and loads of things like boats, small vehicles, units inside, etc., will cause a problem to Tau, because of the way that we're designed by having to spot, then shoot. So then things like single commanders, single Ghostkeels and stuff like that, just to kind of do the damage and then let your other stuff delete what you need to, is going to be crucial. It's hence why I was looking into commander spam, just to have single bodies go, I'll pop that boat, perfect, cool, crisis suits, delete the Harlequins inside. But then again, you don't have to spot, you could just split fire.
Yeah, I mean, Harlequins still do absolutely no damage.
Yeah, exactly. Any questions?
I'm struggling to see why we're excited about Riptides at 180. I still think they suck, but
okay,
maybe I'm wrong.
Let's have a look. So 180 gets you. Come on, God, I haven't even got a list with a Riptide in. That's bad.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think Riptides are still terrible compared to other things from 180.
Same price and 2 Broadside. Same price than 3 man Crisis Broadside. Crisis. Good.
Yeah, but 1 Riptide, 3 crisis suits. It's always the mass.
Mm.
Crisis just wins that.
Like, I get that they help us a bit with primary, because it's something you can sit on an objective, but not really. I still think Ghostkeels are doing that better, but
if you want something to sit there, Human Christ Tradition has more wounds with the same Vinland save.
The damage 4 is nice.
Yeah.
The damage 4
is right, but instead of damage 4, you get 2 damage 2 shots per, like, an ion blaster, like on the crisis suits, 2 damage 2 is the same as 1 damage 4.
Yeah, but I think the moment you factor in,
obviously better.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's just say that the one. Let's look at the pluses and the negatives. Okay, so the pluses are that a damage 4 is really good with anything that has -1 damage. Okay, it's still a platform that can move around the board better than Broadsides, and doesn't really care about being tagged because it can fall back and shoot and ignore hit modifiers. So those are really good for playing the mission and also getting angles, which covers a weakness of broadsides, which is cutting angles and movement. Okay? But I'm not going to deny that broadsides, when they connect, will do more damage than the Riptide, but it's how many turns of shooting you're going to get with your Riptide versus how many times you're going to get to shoot with your broadsides.
Why are you shooting your Riptide into? Strength 8 still limits us. You don't kill a rhino on average.
No. And then the negatives are that the Riptide's profile, with it being Strength 8, is going to be shooting into stuff that your crisis suits can already deal with.
Yeah.
And that's a downside. So if the iron gun went up to, even if it had like anti-vehicle, anti-monster, perfect. It would fill that role. Great. Done.
Oh, of course.
So I do agree with you with the Riptide. You probably just take Ghostkeels because the lone op, they're doing the mission play. The 36-inch range is still decent with the cyclic iron. I think it's worth testing the Riptides in a couple of games to see if you can still bully and survive. And that's the only reason why I was thinking just spam monsters, Ghostkeels and Riptides and just see if I can do what I did in 9th and control the board by using these bully units. But I do have my doubts.
The strength just ruins your maths. Against anything you want to shoot it into.
Yeah, but I think from my perspective, again, I'm pretty new to Tau, so you guys probably know this better than me, but I have played a lot of 40k. Like, for me, it's not about the damage it does. That's not what I want it for. That's not what I want to try it. I don't give a fuck about damage. I feel like there's, like, no... The problems with broadsides for me have been exactly like, okay, what do I get to shoot at, right? You have to run them around, and they're like, yeah, maybe 2 units. I actually like that idea, 2 of 2. Maybe that's nicer. But, like, the 3 unit, I tried it in maybe 5 games, and I just feel like it's so hard to get to shoot at what you want to shoot at, and then it's 270 points that has to shoot at something good, and it doesn't, and Ghostkeels are obviously amazing, don't get me wrong, but it is annoying that they don't have an invuln. It does. Yeah, you can change the damage to 0 twice, and yeah, lone operative helps a lot, but I just want to run the Riptide up in the middle, like that's, and it has nothing to do with crisis suits. Obviously 3, but every list is going to have 3 units of crisis suits, otherwise obviously. And then, okay, do you want to have 1 unit of 6? Do you want to have 2 units of 6? Or do you want to have 3 units of 6? I personally like 6-3-3.
6-3-3 is perfect.
Yeah, I think you don't really need 6-6-3 either. You don't really, that doesn't really help that much, because the 6 unit is the 6th unit that has one purpose. And then the question is, okay, what do I do with the 200 points or whatever that's left in my list? And there I just kind of like the idea of having a Riptide run up the middle of the board.
See, here's the thing, right? I want to just add something to... This is my own experience with playing with broadsides. Okay, so initially, I'm going to use an example of how I used my crisis suits last night against Deathwatch. So, you try to cut the angles, you try to stay safe, and then you stay safe by hiding behind terrain, and then you don't get the angles to shoot because you've taken defensive. You try to be defensive and keep them alive, and you not get the angles because the opponent can then move around them. So, with crisis suits against Deathwatch, my 6-man at the beginning, I knew he had Desolator, so I just shoved them up, did them damage, then fire and faded into the open and go, cool. If you want to come out to charge me, I'm going to overwatch you and I'm going to kill you. And I overwatched and I killed I rolled a little bit hot, I think an extra 2 or 3 hits, which became obviously more sustained from turn 2. And a 5-man crisis, because I lost one with overcharging from a previous shooting, and a Cold Star killed an entire 10-man with kill team. I didn't have any Terminators in there, it was a different one that had the hammers and the character. So my point is that with the broadside, if you had a unit of 3, you don't fuck around with hiding behind the terrain. You just shove them in the open and go, the moment you come out, I'm going to overwatch you. And I'm going to put them in a position where I can view objectives that you're going to want to kind of fortify. And you just go, here they are. Come and deal with them. So you push them up. You don't keep them hidden. And you just say to your opponent, you have to deal with these because the moment you come out to try and do objective play and stuff, I will punish you. And then you have your range 24 inches per overwatch covering an entire objective so that there's no way that they can get onto that objective without being overwatched. So I think using broadsides, like you use your Riptide to bully, You just, first turn, if you're not getting the angles, advance them and just shove them forward and go, cool, right there, I'm in position now. And I think they're very good at tanking, and it takes quite a lot to down them. Especially if you can get cover save as well. And I think that's my learning curve in terms of broadsides, not being too scared of just putting them out in the open.
Yeah, and they are cheaper now.
They are cheaper, yeah.
Yeah, which is like less of an issue that they die.
Yeah, exactly. And Stim Injector is actually really good on them if you obviously... You don't have to go shield drones. I think 8 wounds is enough. You just go, cool.
Yeah.
I know on WTC and UKTC with broadsides, because I've been running them quite a bit, you can very easily set them up to just sit at the back of the objective and just be able to see that entire objective very easily.
Yeah, agreed.
And most armies are not outranging them for the kind of like line of sight that you're going for.
Mm.
So I quite like just setting them up at the back and just be like, right, you need to, if you're coming onto this objective, next turn I'm blowing you off it like easily.
And one thing I like about them as well is that they're quite a good footprint for screening. So they perform 3 roles. 1, covering angles for overwatching. 2, they also screen as well. And 3, whilst you're screening, you're also on an objective for primaries. And thirdly, if they want to kind of deep strike, then you put them in a position where if they do deep strike or rapid ingress, you could then just overwatch them. So you get the picture that they're there just to kind of go, this is this area, we control it, come near us, and I will blast at you hard. And for what? For a 3-man at 270? That's pretty good value. Because you're doing 10 shots, strength 7 AP 2 damage with the missile drones. If you do 5 missile drones, you're doing 3 plasmas that are twin linked, then you're doing 6 rails. And then you still get your 3 seekers, which obviously you're not going to be trying to do them for Overwatch, but it's still there if you definitely need to do. So it's a lot of DACA. And if you've got Shadowsun nearby with reroll 1s, that just bumps up the efficiency as well.
Yeah.
So I think when you compare that to the Riptide, yes, the Riptide can go in, and the only benefit it has, if it does this, is it can charge and not care. But for points, 2 broadsides versus 1 Riptide, I would probably go in favour of the broadsides, but I'm still going to try out the Riptide to see how it performs. And then probably realise it's trash and go back to broadsides and crisis suits.
Yeah. I think you had a good idea there when you said like, well, just take 3 Ghostkeels, 3 Riptides and just go with it. But
yeah, but that's one build, isn't it? It's like one very linear build that's like, cool, that's my game plan. Oh, it didn't work. Damn.
Yeah, I think the singular, because I've been fiddling around with lists, and it's like, yeah, you can just basically take one of your old lists and somehow squeeze in the 1 Riptide, but you're absolutely right. I'd rather just squeeze in 2 broadsides. Especially when you can get a second. I think the second Ghostkeel is really, really tempting now. Whereas before I was kind of just using 1.
Yeah.
I think 2 of them now is that's going to be my big consideration, is just take 2 all the time.
You can actually
and the
fit
buddies
3
just are really nice. They're lovely to go together very well.
Say it again.
So 2 Ghostkeels sitting together, just going up the flank in somebody's face with fusions, is a lovely pair.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing as well, and I'm going to obviously go into huge detail in terms of deployment and stuff in the Road to LGT thing that I'm doing, but I think that there's optimal places that you can deploy Ghostkeels, setting up for not only angles, but you can also set them up for secondaries really, really well, and early doors, and force the opponent to go into places that they don't want to be. So the whole role of the Ghostkeel is the ultimate distraction card effects utility tool, and consistently over the course of the game it will do damage, but not the damage that you're expecting from your broadsides and your crisis suits. But that's not the role of the Ghostkeel. The Ghostkeel is there just to board presence, screen, secondaries, and then obviously tying up stuff to give your crisis suits, like I said, the wiggle room to not get charged or not have to worry. And I really do like the Ghostkeels for that. And one, it means you can't really do the charging stuff as effectively because you can only do it on one side and they could avoid the Ghostkeel, whereas two, they cannot avoid them because you'll have them set up on each flank. Just to go, cool, I'm 10 inches away from this objective, I'm 10 inches away from that one, I can come and get it. So Ghostkeels, for me, I think the 2 is exciting me, again, because I did like it when I was running 2 before.
And should you have the choice between 2 Ghostkeels and the broadsides?
So in terms of like, that's the thing, right? It's how are you balancing broadsides, 2 Ghostkeels and stuff, and what's going to be the sacrifice. So I think without putting it on paper, and obviously in the list building stuff in the Skyray channel, I'll be putting a few of my first lists in there. But I think the interesting thing is if you wanted to do probably 2 Ghostkeels and 2 broadsides, so 2 units of 2 broadsides, you'd probably have to go down to 9 crisis suits.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I've got right now.
And then still keep your utility in there. So,
Or you can just say no broadsides and just more utilities.
Yeah, you could do. You could still just go no broadsides and go more utility. Yeah, that's something that's, again, not a bad choice. But obviously, broadsides, everyone can admit that they're cool.
Actually, if you only go with Exemplary Canyon as enhancement, you can actually go on the Shadowsun 633 3 broadsides, a Ghostkill, 2 piranhas, stealth suits, and 2 pairs of tetras. That's basically squeezing in 3 extra broadsides, right? In like a pretty standard list.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It's mad. I think the second stealth unit I'm not going to take anymore simply because I was only doing that for the double rapid ingress bullshit, but I can't do that anymore. So, sad times. I've got 6 beautifully painted stealth suits, but looks like 3 are only getting used. But yeah, no, I think on the UKTC, I think broadsides will still struggle, and same with the WTC for angles. So it's whether or not you just sack that off and go more mobility, so Ghostkeels and crisis suits. I do find that that's enough. Precision of the Hunter is really, really good on a cold star anyway. And that can be a good anti-tank. And I think if you're going against vehicle heavy lists or monster spam lists, you just got to pick and choose your battles and slow down one flank and then kill another and then just keep your assets alive till turn 3 on onwards. And that's where clever secondaries come in. And if I was to give one bit of free advice to you all, I'd start to look at the lists that you're going against and looking at the mission in detail and considering fixed versus tactical. Because one thing that fixed does for you versus tactical is that you are in control of when you use your assets. The cards are dictating when you have to use your units when you're going tactical. So fixed is definitely the old style of Tau, where you can go, I'm going into a battle, I know my plan, I need to do X, Y, and Z, nice. And then I'll use my resources when I want. And that's what fixed does. The fact that they haven't changed deployed teleport armors in this change is fucking shocking. It's one of the most easiest secondaries to achieve. 15 out of 20 just by going into the middle. Here's a piranha. Here's a piranha. Here's envir. Here's a Krootox rider. Here's a Krootox rider. Cool. Thanks for 15 points. It's mad. Oh, if you get one in the deployment zone, you're gonna get, if you get 1 turn of that, 2 turns of that, it's 18 out of 20. So, fixed versus tactical, have a think, because it could definitely help you deliver damage consistently over the course of the game without having to reveal your assets too early. Cool. Any other questions before we wrap it up? take that silence as a no.
Sorry. I was just going to ask about breaches and devilfish. I joined into this call a bit late, so what are your thoughts on them?
Not good enough. The short summary is, even with the points deduction, it's 205 points with a Cadrifier Blade, Breacher, and Devilfish. When you can get 3 Crisis Suits for 180 points, they just don't add up. And the unfortunate thing is as soon as you reveal those breaches outside the Devilfish to go and do damage to something or an objective, they will 9 times out of 10 overwatch you, and you'll probably lose a third of the breach units, in fact probably half, and then your damage just becomes non-existent. So it's not necessarily the points reduction needed to happen, but also we needed extra AP on our breaches to make them viable again. So if they were AP 2 at strength 6, yes please, I can see that working. But it's too big of a points tax just to use for objective play, and the trick of getting back into a Devilfish doesn't really go off as much as you want because of the fact that Devilfish will either be dead or the breaches will be dead from shooting, and because it's a shooting gallery at the moment, nobody's really charging breaches, and if they do decide to shoot something else and not shoot your breaches and charge your breaches, then fine, you can pull off that trick, we can jump into the Devilfish. But if they shoot your Devilfish dead and not shoot your breaches and then charge your breaches, then they're dead. So I just don't think from a rules perspective it works. From a point, yeah, they're cheaper, but for me it's a swing and a miss still.
Yeah, I suppose I wasn't necessarily looking at any of the stratagems used on breaches, just yeeting them out and shooting something dead.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Still very problematic.
Yeah, against Marines, Armor Contempt. Okay, cool, brilliant, nice. AP 0. Oh, look, you got Terminators in the unit. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah. I'm dead.
And then all of a sudden your tower lists now give up Max Bring It Down and Assassinate.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So the problem is one of our most second efficient units to take for points wise is single commanders, but you're already giving away 20 on Bring It Down anyway, which can't be avoided. The moment you start loading up on loads of characters, you'll be suddenly given between 16 and 20 away on Assassinate. So there's nothing more demoralising when you go into a game and you're thinking, cool, I'm going to have to go on the card, and they just go, well, I'm just going to watch you do your thing, and then I'm going to get 20. You're going to give me Bring It Down points, and you're going to give me Assassinate points because the way you want to use your army. Cool. So that comes down to, have you done enough damage in the turns that you need to in order for them not to max out Assassinate, and that's a bit risky. So I think if you're going against any competent player, they're going to be scoring probably between, I'd say, 32 and 36 on secondaries easily, and then you're just in the mercy of the cards, because 9 times out of 10 an opponent's list in a tournament won't give you easy secondaries like we give to them. So yeah, it's tricky, but I would probably stay away from. I'd accept that you're giving them 20 on Bring It Down, but I wouldn't heavily bank on giving them Assassinate. I know that's kind of like a side answer to your question about breaches, but with Assassinate, you mentioned it, and I agree. I think you've got to be careful of it.
There's nothing we can do. Yeah, go on.
The breach fish for teleport homers in the middle. You can get 3 activations out of them.
Yeah.
You're gonna need. They have to commit a lot of stuff to kill devilfish. That's 14 wounds is a lot. You do that, devilfish homer, breacher homer.
Do you know what's really good?
If that's better than triple piranha.
Well, do you know what's really good for deployed teleport was if you were to take the breach fish, you don't do it in the centre. You have it in strat reserve, and you rapid ingress it, and then you move it, and then the Devilfish does deploy teleport homers, and the breaches can still do the thing. But we're talking about a 205 point unit just to do that, when you could just do it with a single Kroot rider at 35 points coming in from turn 3 onwards.
Oh, but you don't take the Farsight marksman at that point. No, you don't take the character at that point.
Yeah, but my point is that I could do deployed teleport homers. You take a breacher fish for 205. I'll take 3 Kroot riders for 115, 105.
Isn't it more like 160, 170 now for the breacher fish combo?
Okay, yeah, breacher fish combo without the Cadrifier Blade is 80 points for the Yes, it's about
165.
165. Yeah, thank you. 165. Okay, so I'll take 3 Kroot Riders for 105 points, and I'll do the same thing.
Yeah, it's maths. Yeah.
So my point is like when you look at singular units to do a particular secondary, then 3 Kroot Riders, you can they're 35 points, so it doesn't really add a tax for your strat reserving, and they're T5, so they're annoying to deal with from small arms fire, and you go, and now that the fact that they can't overwatch with indirect helps them even more. And if you did bank on doing behind enemy lines and deploy teleport homers, then okay, cool. 3 single piranhas, 3 Kroot Riders. Cool. Oh, and then Envir goes in the middle and goes, come and deal with me. So, I just think that...
Yeah, or even trying to get behind enemy lines, right? I mean, there's an argument there just to bring a unit, go up to a turn, wait till turn 4, drop, profit.
What, in terms of Vespid? Sorry. I didn't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's you know, it's I think a unit that's still worth exploring, right? If you're going fixed and you need doing teleport homers or behind enemy lines or both, 75 points, you can drop them on turn 4 or 5 if you start on the board and leave. I mean, it's a very strong ability.
Are they still 75 points? They didn't drop them?
Yeah,
didn't change. Nope.
What the hell?
Yeah, this is bad. Everything is cheapest, and they are not.
Maybe they've got model shame, and they're like, Vespid? What's a Vespid? Oh, that model that you've not changed in like 10 years. Oh, that one. Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
75 points for this.
I bet 10 points would be enough. But
well, do you know what I'd rather do then, Shasha Castris? I'd rather just put another unit of stealth suits for 60 points and strat reserve them.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you have your line of sight.
the question, and I haven't tested this and I want to, is it worth being able to come in on turn 4 or 5? That's the actual value.
You can come on turn 4. Is it normally you cannot? It's 3 and the turn.
Yeah, but
using the Vespid ability.
Yeah, the Vespid ability can be done.
Oh yeah, because they go down to get down.
I'd say yes, but if the game is going your way, then at that point you should be almost in their deployment zone with damage dealing units. In fact, I've had games where I've seen an opportunity when I was at the Northeast Open Major, and by back end of my turn 2, I had 9 crisis suits in his deployment zone.
Sure, but they're not doing homers. Like I said, I don't think it's
well. They're not doing homers. They're not doing homers unless you've killed it all, and then you're like, sweet, I'll do homers. I did honestly, and I know you'll believe this. I did, what's it called? Investigate signals.
Yes.
With a 3-man unit and a cold star.
As it should be. Oh, we need to get to that corner? Good, 18 inches.
And the only reason I had to use a 3-man is because I couldn't quite fit a 6-man and a cold star in the in the corner to be wholly within 9.
Seems correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, Vespid, look, their ability's good, and it can help you on 2 fronts. It can providing that there's no indirect. They can screen your backfield, and then when they want to jump out for turn 4, in the turn 3, they go up, and then turn 4, they go into the backfield. Yeah, can be good. And it can also be good for tactical as well, just to go wherever you need them to go. Whether it be...
And they are small, because they are already small bases.
Yes, it's 25 mils, so they're really tiny.
By 5, so it's not really a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot. So yeah, cool, but I think at this point now where everything's been reduced so much that lists are still going to be tight, because you're going to be like, oh, now I can take this, now I can take that, now I can take this, and then by the time you know it, if you've got a choice between 5 Vespid or a Tetra unit, I'm sorry, you're taking a Tetra unit. Do you know what I mean? And same with stealth. So you go, 3 stealth suits or 5 Vespid.
Oh, sorry. Those sorts of decisions were never the question.
Yeah. So what's this? This is an Eldar list that's just gone up 415 points.
It's when I did against him. He just wrecked me. 4 prism, 2 avatars, and every tricks. No race guard. The list took 415 points.
And annoyingly, it's still not going to be enough to nerf Eldar. Jesus Christ. How have they managed to still be okay? I was expecting them to get taken behind the garden shed and shot and never seen again for 3 months, but instead they've come back and be like, yeah, I just got, it was alright. It was a good review. You mean you didn't get fired? I got a bit of a slap on the wrist. But you burnt the school down. Oh well. Slap on the wrist. Honestly.
Okay, but we got more resources in the meantime.
Yeah, we got more resources.
We got a bit more.
More resources.
We're going to get down a little. We are going to get up a little. No, a little. A lot. And yeah.
Cool.
We'll see. I play against someone and then dice tonight, so we'll see.
Nice. You're going to play with obviously the new points and stuff, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know my list, but I think it will be 6 man, 3 man, and 2 Ghostkeels, 2 by 2 Broadside, 2 Piranhas, 2 Tetras, 1 Steels. I think I will try to do something, standard to see what I can do.
I think you're gonna struggle to get 2 Ghostkeels and 4 Broadside in the list, bro.
I just posted the list on the
really?
list building. Yeah. And
so
I still have set. I have 6 man and 3 man with commander.
Yeah.
I have 2 Ghostkeels, 2 by 2 Broadside, 2 Piranhas, 1 Steels, and 2 by 2 Tetras. I don't think I did any mistake. And I still have 30 points, but we do not have anything for 30 points. And I do want to keep the precision. No, they are 30?
30 or 35? Yeah, 30.
35 is the rider, but 30 for the house.
Okay, my mistake. I have 4 of them. Then I'm at 2,000.
Nice.
And I think it's really a balanced list.
No worries, Henrik. Right, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all today. Good luck in your list building. Obviously, share it in the list discussions. I'm going to be doing a couple of announcements. I'm going to be doing a few things with now that we've got the points, stuff to obviously captivate and engage you all. If you are interested in the LGT thing that I'm going to be planning, I'll be posting it up in the next couple of days, so keep an eye on that. If you are interested, just send me a DM. But apart from that, yeah, enjoy list building. It's going to be super happy fun times for me, and I can't wait to get cracking. And then obviously doing sweatshop lists up until now, until GT. So enjoy the rest of your days, your evenings, your mornings, wherever you are in the world. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.